Today, we're going to make some simple cordage out of trash, one of these, and they're everywhere, using a simple homemade jig that you can make for $5, or if you got a good junk part, you can make it for free. So, just a second, we'll get started. First of all, the jig. It's so simple. Stay up. It's just merely 2 bolts, 2 wing nuts, a stack of washers, and if you use 1/4-inch bolts, or I'm not sure what that is in metric, I have not had enough coffee, but at any rate, you can use 1/4-inch bolts and then use these larger, what they call fender washers. And if you'll notice, there's a razor blade right in there. Now you can adjust the stack height to adjust the width of the cordage that you're making. So I've gone ahead and cut out one of these bottles to get it started. So I talked about how to build the jig that is nothing but bolts, washers, and a razor blade. Using the jig, if you can, this is just an old scrap piece of wood, by the way, but if you can clamp it down, you got less moving parts. It's easier to work with, because sometimes the bottles are a little tough to cut. If your blade's getting a little dull, which this one is, it makes it a little more challenging. And if you can't clamp it down, have a second person hold it. What you want to do to prepare your bottle, jug, bottle, is cut you a little leader tail like this. That makes it easier, because then you can kind of thread that in. And then you want to set the bottle right over the washers and the back edge. I know you probably can't really see this in the video. You want to turn the bottle to you, pull it toward that back edge so that it's touching the board. And then as you pull the little stringer, the thing you want to do is try to keep the bottle as close to the board as possible. And you know, sometimes it's a little tedious. Sometimes it goes really, really great, particularly if you have a new, fresh, sharp blade. I just grabbed this out of the trailer this morning because I've got several bottles I thought I'd cut up. And I wanted to share it with you guys and show you. But that's how you do it. You just kind of pull the little stringer and keep the bottle down toward the base. And I'm going to cut this off like that. I will tell you, the straight-sided bottles are a little easier to work with than ones that have all these fancy little indentions and things. The cordage still works just as well. And you come out with a piece of cordage. Now, is it perfectly the same width all up and down? No. And that does not matter, because the way you're going to use this cordage most times is you're going to be using it, wrapping it like such, tucking the end back in on itself so that you can pull it tight. And now here's the neat thing about making cordage with this stuff, or out of this stuff. These bottles are formed out of thermoplastic. They use heat to form them. So once you tie this, if you take a lighter or a small torch and apply heat, it actually tightens up, shrinks up, and tightens up. As it sits out in the sunlight, instead of rotting like cotton, this stuff just gets tighter. It just gets better. Evidence of the fact that it doesn't go away. I'm sorry, I'm wiping sweat and everything else this morning. It's about 9:30 and 98 degrees out here already. But evidence that it doesn't go away is, go look at any trash pile. You'll see hundreds of these lying about. So there's your little tip. Free cordage that's good cordage. I've actually put tarps up using this stuff, and they've managed very well. And it's a cordage that has the unique properties of, once you tie it, bind it, lash it, whatever you do, you can apply a little bit of heat and it'll shrink up even tighter. So there you go. Since I got off camera on that last video a little bit, I thought I would show you what I was saying. You just use it. You know, this is a simple, started out as a square lashing, and then I wrapped around and tucked the ends back in. But you know, it's not real tight. So what you can do is, see if my lighter is going to work. There's a little end. Come on now. But you see that plastic? See it drawing up? And naturally there would be a breeze out here. There we go. But you see how the plastic is drawing and tightening itself up a little bit? Once it cools, it'll hold that position and your lashing will be more secure. So that's just exactly an example of what I was talking about here. And of course, if you get it too hot, you melt it, and there you go. When you want to make a video, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So, you know, of course, if you get it too hot and you melt it, start over with another piece, because guess what? You're working with a limitless resource. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video, and in less than 5 minutes or abouts, you learned how to turn trash into something useful.